All right, we are 3 days away from 49ers reporting to training camp, and we have an interview with Kyle Shanahan on the 49ers quarterback situation to play for you. But first, we have the tradition of doing jersey number days away. We're Ray McLeod days away from 49ers report at training camp. We'll talk a little bit more about Ray later. The number theme here is really interesting because Kyle Shanahan talked about his top 3 quarterbacks, right? 3 days away, top 3 quarterbacks away. So the number 3 remains thematic. And listen to what Kyle Shanahan had to say.
3 guys with something to prove behind center.
I mean, we got 3 guys who can play, and there's only one spot, and we have a good team. So I see it as a cool situation. And as last year we had some unknown. We believed in Trey, but he hadn't gone out and done it yet. So, but we believed in him. We got to see him for a year and a half and what he could do, and he lost that opportunity, which happens in football. And we had another guy come in, very similar to Trey, but less reps and stuff, and Brock got that opportunity. So now we're in this situation, and it's just, I get how everyone wants something set in stone, but it's not set in stone. But I love the options, and I love the experience that Brock got. I love that Trey has gotten some too, and I love the ability that we have in the room. And besides those 3, I love our team around them. So let's let it play out, and all I got to do is survive the press conference.
All right. Well, if you had been watching this channel for the last several months, you would know exactly that. You would know that's how the 49ers feel. I don't think it's rocket science that the 49ers quarterback situation will play out organically. Yet you could still go on social media and people are acting shocked that Kyle Shanahan said that we have 3 guys who can play. I think the 49ers love their option power at the 49ers at their quarterback position. Then he also said that it's not set in stone. No shit, it's not set in stone. They only called Brock Purdy the leader in the clubhouse. Why would you want to set it in stone? Brock Purdy's played, 8, 9 games? Trey Lance, very inexperienced. Sam Darnold hasn't played well in general in his NFL career. Was a lot better last year with Carolina. Maybe he's going to be better in the 49ers system. Wouldn't you want to give all those options an opportunity to prove themselves, to see how this thing might shake out organically? Somebody on Twitter, I mean, it's just idiotic, acted like they had found something when Kyle Shanahan said it's not set in stone. Like it was some kind of gotcha moment. Oh, see, Brock Purdy doesn't really have the job. Well, yeah, he never had the job. They never named him the starter. They've always maintained that option power would be their calling card to the quarterback position this year, that they would let Trey Lance and Sam Darnold work for stuff, that they would let Brock Purdy, once he returns from injury, reassert himself. After last season, he should have the inside track because he's accomplished the most out of all these guys on the football field. But the 49ers would be complete dumbasses. I repeat that, complete dumbasses, if they made a determination right now about what to do at the quarterback position. They have options. They didn't have options at the end of last season after everybody got hurt. They should relish and bask in their new luxury. And if you listen to Kyle Shanahan, that's exactly what they're doing. Let's listen to Kyle one more time.
You got 3 guys with something to prove behind center.
I mean, we got 3 guys who can play, and there's only one spot, and we have a good team. So I see it as a cool situation. And last year we had some unknown. We believed in Trey, but he hadn't gone out and done it yet. So, but we believed in him. We got to see him for a year and a half and what he could do, and he lost that opportunity, which happens in football. And we had another guy come in, very similar to Trey, but less reps and stuff, and Brock got that opportunity. So now we're in this situation, and it's just, I get how everyone wants something set in stone, but it's not set in stone. But I love the options, and I love the experience that Brock got. I love that Trey has gotten some too, and I love the ability that we have in the room. And besides those 3, I love our team around them. So let's let it play out, and all I got to do is survive the press conference.
All he has to do is survive the press conferences because he knows that a bunch of bad questions are coming. I can sit here and promise you that they won't be coming from me. That's all I can do. I can only control what's under my power. We're going to talk about the entire 49ers roster. That's why I bring up Ray McLeod on 3 days away from 49ers report day, because I think there's so much else to talk about other than the quarterback situation. We've been counting this down player by player every single day. 5 was Trey Lance. 4 was Brandon Allen. Today, it's not a quarterback. It's Ray McLeod. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about number 2, the newly minted number 2, Diamador Lenore. By the way, this is a great article from Matt Barrows last year in August on Ray McLeod before he had played a game with the 49ers. And the quote in the headline, I feel like I'm in college again. And, I think that's fitting because when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch first took over the 49ers in 2017, they obviously wanted to stack the roster with good players. But just as importantly, of simultaneous significance, we'll say, they wanted to make sure they filled it up with the right personalities because they realized that once you got good, once you had to start paying guys, once guys were up for contracts, once you wanted to start attracting big-time free agents to push yourself over the top into true Super Bowl mode, you'd have to have a good culture to welcome either retaining players or adding them. And the goal for Kyle and John back in 2017 was to create a college-like vibe on a good pro team. They wanted that locker room to have that college football-like camaraderie. So you fast forward 5-6 years from the point that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch established those goals, and you had an outside free agent, Ray McLeod, come in, and he said, I feel like I'm in college again. Well, that's mission accomplished. You built the kind of culture that you want, and now that culture is the gift that keeps on giving for the 49ers, right? Christian McCaffrey shows up and is really welcomed, fits in perfectly in the locker room, hangs out with Trent Williams and Nick Bosa after games at Trent Williams' locker. It's like a Pro Bowl roster talking shop in there. Move forward, they had Javon Hargrave deciding which team to come to in free agency, not undrafted free agency, in actual big boy free agency. Javon Hargrave picks the 49ers. Does money have a lot to do with it? Of course. Of course it does. But there are other components too. Guys want to win rings. Guys want to set themselves up potentially for future contracts beyond the one they're signing now. If you build the right culture, they will come. And Ray McLeod talked about it last year when he said, I feel like I'm in college again. Nice little season for Ray. Gave the 49ers some dependability at punt return. We talked about it the other day when Larry Krueger was on the show. He fumbled. He muffed the punt against the Cowboys. But then he delivered with a big gainer shortly thereafter against the Cowboys. So it didn't turn into a Kyle Williams situation where the 49ers lost the game. But by and large, the 49ers found some stability at punt returner that they did not have entering that 2022 season, and they're going to be happy about it to retain that here in 2023. On top of that, Ray is a good fill-in for Deebo Samuel. We saw it, I think, especially in the game against the Raiders last year. No Deebo late in the season. Ray plays that Deebo role where you could put him anywhere, right? Running back, wide receiver, slot, you name it. He's not as big and strong. He's a little bit shiftier. He plays with a different running style than Deebo Samuel, but he allows the 49ers to have depth at a really important positionless position at the wide receiver spot, right? And I think depth is really important given Deebo Samuel's style of play, how physical it is. He, is more likely than not to miss a little bit of time or at least need breathers off on the side of the field. So we're Ray McLeod days away. He's a valuable member of this football team, but we're talking about the 49ers quarterback position. And it's stuff that, we've repeated over and over and over again. And I feel that sometimes it feels like you're yelling and nobody hears you, right? 49ers believe in option power at the quarterback room. They think that they have multiple good QBs. If you can't find one of the 3 or 4 very elite ones in the game to add to your team, which is impossible literally in most situations, right? I know the Jets were able to trade for Aaron Rodgers this offseason. I don't think the 49ers would have been able to do that because they're in the NFC. I think the Packers wanted to trade him to the AFC. I think that was apparent the whole time. And even then, let's just look at the reality of the situation. It is fan fiction fantasy to go out and think that your team can pick up a Patrick Mahomes or an Aaron Rodgers in his prime. And Aaron Rodgers is not even in his prime yet every offseason. So obtaining one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the game is generally unrealistic. When you can't do that, your best option is to have multiple good quarterbacks, especially when they all get hurt, like the 49ers did last year. Your best option is a deep room at the game's most important position. So the 49ers have a deep room. And yesterday we're talking about Brandon Allen and the possibilities with him. That's the 4th quarterback because he was number 4 days away. In this particular interview, Kyle Shanahan talks about three guys who can play, but it sounded like he was just reacting to the question, which talked about the three quarterback options. Obviously, that is Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, not necessarily in that order. That order has to be determined, and it will resolve itself organically. We're about to find out in a few days whether or not Brock Purdy is going to start the preseason or training camp on PUP, physically unable to perform. That wouldn't be a big deal. I think we even expected that up until a few weeks ago that Purdy would start camp on the PUP list. They can remove him at any time when he's 100%. But if he starts on PUP, then you have it opened up to a full-on raging battle in front of our eyes at training camp between Trey Lance and Sam Darnold with some Brandon Allen mixed in. If he doesn't start on PUP, then we're going to get to see how good Brock Purdy looks right away. And he's going to be getting those first team reps to start because he is the leader in the clubhouse. But again, nothing is set in stone. It shouldn't be set in stone. We should be letting things play out because that's exactly what the 49ers are doing with three guys who can play. So 3 guys who can play 3 days away from the 49ers report day at training camp. Why don't we smash that like button? Why don't you subscribe? We're trying to get this up to 40,000 right before camp, and we're like 100 away. So you guys are doing a great job filtering in those subs. Let's keep it going, though. I know we have a lot of new viewers every single time that I go live just because the regular season is right around the corner and training camp is literally a couple days away, or 3. I guess a couple means 2, right? So I want to be technically right. A few days away. We're 125 away from the 40,000 mark. So we might hit that today. That'd be really exciting. Let's open this up for a quick Q&A, then I'm going to roll. Best 49ers channel on YouTube. I agree. Thank you. Appreciate it. No, if Jimmy Garoppolo were still on the team, he would be, in all likelihood, the starting quarterback. Why would he be third string? I mean, the reason that Trey Lance started last year as the first stringer is because of the investment. They wanted to see what they had out of their investment. The minute that Trey Lance got hurt, the 49ers got better last year. Trey has a higher ceiling, I get it, than Jimmy Garoppolo because of the mobility. But at a certain point, the ceiling stops mattering as much as the actual on-field production. The point where it stopped mattering as much was when Brock Purdy, on a rookie contract, stole the spotlight from Trey Lance and proved to also be better than Trey Lance. So Trey's got a lot of work to do to, not only catch Brock Purdy, but I mean, just to be the 49ers guy, right? And I guess to be the 49ers guy, you got to catch Brock Purdy. As far as Garoppolo and Purdy go, I mean, the efficiency was very, very similar between the two last year. Jimmy Garoppolo is a little bit more efficient. I've gone through this, and the 49ers obviously liked his experience. But what Purdy gave them was bigger upside with his legs and also way more cost efficiency. Brock Purdy was way, way cheaper than Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy's making $20+ million a year with the Raiders. Brock Purdy's cap hit this year is like 780,000, 800,000. I don't even know. It's so low that it doesn't even register. It doesn't even count against the 49ers cap because the top 51 contracts only count against the cap in the offseason. So bang for your buck right now. Brock Purdy is the man. Jimmy Garoppolo would definitely not be third string if he was still on the roster, but it's not a really fair question because he's not on the roster because he's too expensive, right? You're not going to be paying Jimmy Garoppolo $20+ million a year when you have Brock Purdy doing very similar things efficiency-wise at about $800,000 a year. Just the way that it works. Can we get some merchandise that says t-shirts that say let it play out organically or QB option power? I'd love it if somebody wants to collaborate, do some of the work. You'll get part of the profit. Let's go. I love the idea. Well, I mean, yesterday I put out a meme. It was a Star Wars meme. I could leave you guys with this. This is a question. I don't know if the 49ers are going to carry 4 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster. I doubt it, but crazier things have happened. Crazier things have been happening with the 49ers. And I leave you with this. Star Wars fans will understand. Will they carry Darnold, Lance, Purdy, and Brandon Allen? Well, one of them's got to be on the practice squad, right? But what if one of them's not on the practice squad? What if all three on the 53-man roster? That'd be crazy. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. I've got to get rolling. We'll talk to you all very soon.